this year.
First pitch swinging, line drive, he's done it. John Means has no-hit the Mariners. They go! Round bait, dishes, Kyrie going for the 50-piece. Irving has 50!
Pressure from the Steelers. Mayfield in trouble, and he's going to be taken down. Who else but T.J. Watt?
First downs on this drive. Heineke, end zone, McLaurin, touchdown!
Torres drives that ball center field, hit deep, going back near the wall. Wilkerson, maybe, nope, goodbye, home run. Get him out of there! Don't throw to him.
I never seen anything like
Put
it.
up four fingers.
I've never seen anything like it.
He is just tearing the Orioles apart.
Jonathan Taylor, goodbye, touchdown, Indy, as he crossed the tape at the goal line. 78 yards.
And here we go.
Okay, it has been a while, but we are finally back for another episode of the Sports Department podcast. First one in a very, very long time, since like October. But we're back for a little bit just because we had a lot of life stuff going on. Mainly me, as you can tell. I am not in my lair anymore. I moved out, so that took a lot of adjusting and then working nights, which sucked. But we're here, so Justin Valentovic, Stephen Clark, Jesse Norman, and Stephen Bologna, and we're here to talk the wild card round in the playoffs. We haven't done much of really anything in football, really, just because we haven't had time to, but we're here for the postseason.
What's your address, Justin, by the way?
I mean, the 6 people that listen to this already know.
I was waiting for Justin to be like, yeah, moved in, new place. This road, this apartment, when you walk in, make a look.
Didn't even mention his cat. What a shame.
I have a cat as well now.
Wow. What a shame.
It's out with Jess in the other room. But football playoffs, we're here already.
Funny enough, do you know what our last podcast was?
What?
Week 5.
Crown Jewel.
Oof.
And
wrestling pods never fail.
Isn't that just super?
A little bit of news in between both of those. Back to the old shit in WWE.
Yeah, that's all I have to say.
For the 12 of you that watch, Carla mainly, we will try to do these a little more frequently again now that I'm settled in my new place and hopefully work schedule calms down a little bit. But any thoughts on the playoffs off the rip? How are we feeling about them?
I think there's a couple of games that are just clear. They're going to be demolitions. I'm looking at 2 in particular.
We're not going to get the good games until the next round, I don't think. With a lot of injuries in this round and kind of a couple blowouts and some others and a couple like just crappy teams going against it, like Monday night. It should be interesting still, but it's a weird wild. It was a weird NFL season.
It kind of feels like baseball a little bit, where you kind of got to get through like the teams that barely got in just to kind of get them out and then get to the real playoffs. Because in the AFC, the Chiefs, Bills, Bengals, Jags all won their division. So the wild card teams are Chargers, Ravens, Dolphins. Now, obviously, the 2 big storylines for the Ravens and Dolphins is that they don't have their starting quarterbacks, Lamar Jackson and Tua, respectively. So they're down. So those matchups could be very ugly, very quick. And then in the NFC, the Eagles, Niners, Vikings, Bucks all won their divisions. So then you have Cowboys, Giants, Seahawks, which, they're all playoff teams, but it could be a little sloppy. You got Daniel Jones, Geno Smith, who had career years by all standards, but, based on the matchups could be a little rough. So those are your division winners. Any team specifically you want to hit on that sticks out to you before we start going into the matchups?
I would like to give credit to Norman and a little bit of myself. We
Indianapolis Colts.
Picked the Jags as the dark horse. I said if there was one team that could upset any division, it would be the Jags. I think Norman and I were on the same page with that a little bit. If there was a dark horse team, and we're in January.
I think at the time when we did that preview pod too, I think I basically said for the Jaguars to win the division, everything would have to go wrong for the Colts and Titans, and that's exactly what happened.
That's also what happened. Yeah.
Doug Peterson shows that he's a competent coach. Again, Trevor Lawrence showing his potential at that point, finally. So what a surprise. He actually has a real coach who knows how to coach a young quarterback, and they get to the playoffs first year together. So good for them. Another big story out of the NFC, Geno Smith, who was the Band-Aid quarterback post-Russell Wilson deal. Boy, how that has worked out for the Seahawks. They got 3 first-round draft picks, and they got to the playoffs.
Came right back. They wrote Gino off, but he didn't write back. Yeah, I love this story. Gino was always, a class guy while he was in New York. Never caused drama, even though he was not very good at all for the Jets. And he's a good guy overall, he seems like, and it's cool to see someone like this succeed. He probably just needed, to be out of the big market, and it's a case for a lot of guys, and it worked again for Gino. So, and Pete Carroll probably too added a lot to how successful Gino is.
Did you see him on a scooter?
Yes,
I did.
They're having fun, and that's what you want, and it got them to the playoffs. Probably
that's
most
what
of
a
us
Pete Carroll team is.
But
having fun, running team that's going to have a good defensive secondary and is really going to have the chip on their shoulder. It's the early Russell Wilson years of they're just going to go out and have fun, and Pete Carroll's going to put them in the best position to win. Also going to shout out my guy Kenneth Walker, who going into week 5 only had 5 touches and finished the year with over 1,000 yards from scrimmage.
Yeah, they're not obviously the Legion of Boom that era, but there are shades of it where it's like you said, Jesse, a very good secondary and a power running game. So there are some parallels there. The other thing is, yes,
my team, Justin, I want to highlight. You see how bad the Rams were this year. I think the Bengals don't get enough credit, man. I mean, started off 0-2, and what are they now, 12-4?
Yeah, while getting injured along the way.
Yeah, Jamar Chase missed like 6 weeks.
Lyle Collins is currently out.
Yeah.
Bengals
Joe
were
Burrow
12-4.
And to
Joe
think
Burrow
they had
incredible.
They had one less game.
They had the number 1 pick in the draft 2 years ago.
Yep.
And what one person? I mean, Jamar is great, and he obviously helps Burrow out so much. But if they didn't have Burrow, they're not there. The fact that one person could turn the whole franchise around like that.
Well, now that's his quote.
Crazy.
I was not ready to anoint him as the next coming, but he's shown that he very well could be. I've seen enough that he is a legit quarterback, right? And his quote a few weeks ago where he said, when someone asked about his Super Bowl window, he said, the whole time I'm here. I'm buying into that. I think so too. I think he'll be in the tier of like your Roethlisbergers, your Mannings, your Bradys, where as long as they're there as a stabilizing force, they will be a contender.
Yeah. For like I said, how the Rams, how bad they were after the Super Bowl, for the Bengals to start the way they did, 0-2. I mean,
Justin
it's just
calling for Zach Taylor's job again.
How many times?
Just an incredible team. I mean, they're fun. That offense is fun.
It is. There's a lot of good offensive-based teams in this postseason. The Vikings are one of them. The Niners are really fun to watch. The Bengals, even the Giants to an extent. I feel like this year, the playoffs as a whole, there's not a lot of great shutdown defenses.
There's only one.
Yeah.
There's one, and it's the Niners. That's it. No other team is a lockdown defense, I would say. I think the 49ers are the only ones to have an all-pro at every single level. I don't think any other team did.
Unreal.
Yeah, that's wild.
So let's get into those matchups, and we'll actually start with those Niners as they lead off with the first postseason game of the year, home to the Seahawks on their third quarterback of the season. They went to Trey Lance, kept Jimmy G. Trey Lance got hurt, went to Jimmy G. Jimmy G got hurt. And here we are with Mr. Irrelevant, Brock Purdy, who I believe he's 5-0 since taking over, versus Geno Smith and the Seahawks. So at the beginning of the year, if you told me Brock Purdy was facing Geno Smith in a playoff game, I would have thought you're absolutely nuts. But at the end of the day, here we are. And like Jesse said, a really good defense on the 49ers side of things, but also they have Mr. Irrelevant, which at the same time, he's shown that he's not really too irrelevant. But you have a younger Seahawks team with Geno Smith, who's having a career year. They kind of balance out a lot, I think, and match up pretty well.
I think the Seahawks are a little too inexperienced going up against this Niners defense. I don't know. The way that the Niners have played, the way that Brock Purdy has come in and just not made a single mistake, just shows you how great of a coach Kyle Shanahan is.
Well, that's the thing. If they go on a run, which they already have, if they go on a playoff run with Brock Purdy and he plays as he is, the Shanahan system is going to be one of the greatest offensive systems ever. Because you've seen it with Trey Lance, who we don't know yet, but Jimmy G, it was seamless. And now with Brock Purdy, it was a seamless transition to him. The Shanahan system just works, clearly.
Yeah. Niners are too good, I think, to lose this game to the Seahawks. I mean, that defense is incredible. And even you can throw anyone behind the center, under center right there. I mean, you got McCaffrey, you got all these weapons on the outside, one of the best tight ends in the league. I mean, I like Seattle. I like the story. I'm rooting for Seattle to win, but I just think the Niners are too good. Way too good to be out in the wild card round.
Pretty sure
Yes.
the Niners are adding Debo back for this game as well. I think it'll be a little bit closer than everybody kind of thinks. I could see it being like a 6-point game to kind of close it out. But
The
I do think
spread's
the
9.5.
49ers.
I think that's
think
a
the
lot.
Seahawks are going to come in with a chip on their shoulder.
They've been playing with that the whole year.
Yeah, and it's a divisional game. I think
Now, the
if
Seahawks
anybody's
did
going to
lose
throw some interesting
both games,
looks,
though, to the Niners. And, the old adage, it's hard to beat a team the third time around.
that is true. And like I think Pete Carroll is going to throw different looks at Brock Purdy. If anybody's going to maybe be able to force him into his first mistake, I would like to think it would be Pete Carroll kind of coaching these defensive backs up. I still think the 49ers win. I don't think it's exactly the prettiest game. I'm going to go Niners like 21-17. I also think not having Lockett is a big deal still. If the Seahawks have Lockett and they have two legit receivers, I feel a lot better about the offense.
Clark, you're also rolling with the Niners?
Rolling with the Niners, yeah.
Bologna, what you were about to say?
Excuse me. Yeah, I'm going to go with Niners as well. As long as Purdy just doesn't make a crucial mistake or a couple of those. I mean, this is an offense that, like, you look at it, Deebo Samuel, okay, great. Then they still have Christian McCaffrey. Like, I feel like that's gone super unnoticed. Like, they have a top 3 running back in the NFL.
It was
Brandon
and
Ayuk
a top 3
been
defense.
Very good. Brandon Ayuk has also been very good.
It's great.
And George Kittle.
Yeah.
Finally, George Kittle the second half of the season has been insane. The best tight end in football the second half of the season.
Just
best
don't
fullback in football too. Only 5.
I feel like this has been the most quiet year for Juszczyk because I feel like we would always see him on red zone here and there. It's like, oh, and Juszczyk with a touchdown. Like I feel like he hasn't done.
All that means is that he's going to break out now.
Yeah, he'll do something
playoffs.
here. Yep.
He'll have a 2-touchdown game.
But don't be surprised if this team makes the NFC Championship game.
I agree.
We've been
100%
stunned the past 2 years.
Yep.
I mean,
see, the thing with the NFC is that it's just so wide open.
Yes.
It's like
if I feel like any team could actually, if they put it together and go on a little run, they could get to the Super Bowl, kind of like the Bengals did last year.
Like the
I
Eagles
think
are the
I
one
could
seed.
put.
Go ahead.
I think I could put any team from the AFC besides the Ravens, but if the Ravens were healthy, I think I can move them
Well,
over.
the Dolphins.
And also
a healthy,
too. But again, with a
Tua.
healthy Tua, I think I could slide any of these AFC teams over and be like, yeah, they could make the NFC.
It's the most parity I feel like we've had in the league.
And even
At
like
least
the
on that
Eagles,
side.
I feel like aren't a true like number one. Like they're a great team, the Eagles, but like they're beatable. They're not like the Chiefs or the Bills.
oh
team.
yeah, they
Like,
are.
Well,
the other thing is if
their loss
you
to the
move any
Commanders
of
did
these-
kind of knock some shine off of them. I feel like a little bit.
and they haven't looked. I know Hurts has been hurt the last like 2 weeks or so, but like even like in the game against the Giants last week, the Giants rested a lot of starters, and they still didn't impress me at all.
No.
They looked kind of mediocre.
Mediocre. All right, so
I agree.
let's switch over to the other game on Saturday, and that is the LA Chargers taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars. Herbert versus Lawrence. Jesse, you want to go first, or anyone? Feel free.
Okay, well now I feel like I kind of have to go first. I don't really know who I'm going to pick in this game.
I feel like
This
this is another toss up. I feel like a lot of these
This
games
is
could be toss ups.
This is a game where I feel like the Chargers really don't match up well with the Jaguars. I think this is actually probably the worst matchup for them because the Jaguars are not going to abandon the run. And the Chargers have shown that they are not a very good run defense. So I feel like it's all there for the Jaguars to possibly pull this one out. And I also think the Jaguars have the better coach.
Yeah, Staley the past few weeks has kind of shown
Little questionable.
Going back to last year,
go Jaguars.
like going back to last year, the Raiders game where they could have sat on it for the tie, and then both of them get into the playoffs, and you kind of fucked that one up. And then
you can't kneel it out for 4 quarters. And
no, I know, but I'm just saying later in the game how it could have whatever. But and then his decision to play his starters for like 3/4 of the game, and now they're down. Mike
Williams is out.
Yeah, now Mike Williams
what are you doing there, buddy?
Going to be out.
Is he officially?
It looks like
he missed practice today.
He was like trying to practice, and allegedly he like needed help to be walked around the facility. Like his back was spasming. Jeez. Like there's no way this man is going to play. Or if he does, he is strictly going to be a decoy. I don't think there's any way he's actually going to be an effective player.
Jags are the hottest team in football.
Yeah, they are.
That's the only thing that's swaying me right now.
Whenever we did a podcast, I did say the Jaguars were the best bad team in the NFL.
You are correct.
Now they're not a bad team.
They're not a bad
They're
team.
a division winner.
I just think I know Los Angeles doesn't have experience that much either in the playoffs, but I just feel like
is this Herbert's first game? This is Herbert's first playoff game, right?
Yeah, because they haven't made it in every year.
I saw that. I saw on like ESPN 6 of the quarterbacks. This is their first playoff game.
That's actually kind of cool. I'm gonna go with the Chargers though. Still, I like both of these teams. I feel like the Jags are gonna make more mistakes. I don't know why. It can't be an inexperienced thing because they're both inexperienced. But I feel like Jags are gonna show more inexperience if that makes sense. So I'm gonna go with the Chargers.
Normie?
I already said Jags.
Pick the Jags.
That's right. Sorry.
Pay attention.
Sorry.
Pay attention.
This is tough because
I'm not even on my phone this time.
This time.
These are two teams with really no running game. I mean, they both have incredible running backs, but they're pass catchers.
Fair.
And if it's a shootout in the passing game, I'd rather have Justin Herbert over Trevor Lawrence. Jaguars statistically have one of the worst secondaries in the NFL when it comes to passing. At the same time, like, you don't want to discount the Jags defense, but the Chargers are really talented. So I'm going to go LA 27-24.
All righty. I'm going with Normie, and I'm riding the hot hand. I really like the Jaguars. I think at home it gives them a little bit of a chance as well. And I just like what Trevor Lawrence has been doing recently with, and Doug Peterson, good coach. So I think Staley might have the one boneheaded go for it that could come back to bite him.
Yeah.
I think it'll be the Jags at the end of the day. So we'll switch over to the Sunday slate, starting with a game that we really don't spend too much time on. Skylar Thompson is starting for the Miami Dolphins against the Buffalo Bills. I think it's easy to say the Buffalo Bills.
Got to pull the Frank and start biting your shirt when you hear the word Skylar Thompson.
Fucking Darren Ruff.
I feel so bad for the Dolphins, though, because the last time they made the playoffs, they had to start Matt Moore against the Steelers, and they got like 40 put on them in like the first half.
I remember that game.
I really
liked that.
It sucks. It was the same situation. Tannehill got hurt like the week before to get into the playoffs, or they clinched the playoffs, and he got hurt somewhere. And here they are.
I don't think the Dolphins score more than 10 points in this game.
No. If the Bills pull away with a 10-point lead, 14-point lead, game's over. I really don't see them being able to score too much.
No. Buffalo at home alone is hard to beat. And
Buffalo
now,
with your third-string quarterback is damn near impossible.
And playing with Damar Hamlin and everything.
Yeah.
I mean,
I personally think we've already spent too much time.
You know what would be sick? I saw a tweet somewhere about
if he's there for like the coin flip or something.
Nah, like wait till it's like the AFC Championship.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Wait until
I think that would be insane.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, like Justin said, we don't have to spend too much time on this. Buffalo's gonna destroy them, I think. I'm sorry to the Dolphins, but Buffalo's better and healthy.
Yeah, they simply are. They have a quarterback. I would give him. Did you say I, or are you like holding?
No, go. I was going to say I, but go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say if they had to, I would give them a puncher's chance, but
of course.
And they don't even have Teddy Bridgewater. But let's move on to the most interesting game of Sunday.
Yeah, definitely. Go ahead. It's all you, man.
Yep, just skip everybody else's pick. Yep.
I'm assuming we're all doing the Bills.
Did everybody not know Bills?
I had a statement I wanted to say.
Monologue. Give me this.
Jeez. Look at typical Justin trying to rush this thing along.
I know.
I'm not even stupid.
What if I'm gonna pick the Dolphins?
Yeah.
Congrats.
You
going the Dolphins?
You know what, Steve? I'll change it to the Dolphins now.
I will
Picks
say
don't mean
this.
anything.
Are you doing
I-
Dolphins?
Okay,
I
no, I'm
don't
kidding.
I don't feel bad for the Dolphins. I really don't. For how they jerked around Tua all year long with the concussions, the head injuries. This is
Mainly
a
the
team
concussion.
that won 3 straight, lost 3 straight, won 5 straight, lost 5 straight.
That is amazing.
It's just inconsistency, poor coaching. So again, I feel bad that Tua is not able to play, but you know damn well they would rush him back.
Yes,
if he
they
even had
absolutely
a
would.
sliver of a
would've,
chance
If
to
there
play.
were no rules or no morals or anything, 100%.
Yeah, they would rush
100%.
him back. So Miami, this has just been a rough organization the past couple of years. So Buffalo is going to destroy them. I think that's very fair.
Yeah.
Miami's talented, but they can't compete without a quarterback.
They don't have a
so
quarterback. It's as simple as that. So
31-10.
Bills across the board for all of us. So the most interesting game now on Sunday is at 4:30, and that is the New York Giants going back up to Minnesota to take on the Vikings, led by Kirk Cousins. In the regular season, they lost to the Vikings by a 61-yard field goal. Do they get some redemption this time around?
Yeah,
You think so?
I do think so. It's not 1 p.m. for Cousins. Is
This game
No.
is 3 hours earlier.
then
Prime
I
Joe
mean,
Montana.
Well,
Giants
Justin,
are
they're in a different time zone, so I guess it is 1 o'clock.
Oh, it's 2.
They're in. Wait, are they Mountain Time or Central Time?
I'm pretty sure they're Mountain Time.
I shall look.
2 o'clock, our Cousins.
2 o'clock for Cousins.
Where does that fall then?
Maybe like mid, like ish, like 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. No. I think the Giants are a sneaky team.
Minneapolis is only an hour behind. So 3:30, Kirk Cousins.
So 3:30.
If the Eagles didn't go on this insane run, like literally any team in that division could have won that division this year. Like 3 teams, almost 4 with the Commanders made the playoffs this year.
That would have
Game
been
out.
something if the whole division made it.
That would have been cool. But
If only your coach knew.
God, Giants are a sneaky like Super Bowl favorite for me. They really are.
Really?
Just because of how wide open the NFC is, easily I think could make the NFC championship. I think the NFC championship's their ceiling, but I wouldn't be shocked if they somehow sneak into the Super Bowl. I like the Giants here. You can tell by the way I'm talking about them. I like the Giants here.
The biggest thing with the Giants now is Daniel Jones isn't the reason they're losing games or a non-factor in their decisions. He's the reason they are winning games now.
Exactly. Yeah, their defensive line is great. Their secondary is okay. I mean, it's
their run game with
Jefferson.
It's their run game with Jones and Barkley that is the most crucial to them.
Yeah,
And the
it
Vikings
is.
defense sucks.
And all the Giants
Vikings
have to do is
defense
contain
is really
Jefferson,
bad.
which I mean, Jair Alexander was having a kind of a rough year. Did pretty well a couple weeks ago in containing Jefferson for like what 5 catches for like or 1 catch for like 5 yards or something was a couple of weeks ago.
I believe so.
Do the Giants have Jair Alexander?
No, they have
Yeah, but it's Jair
Jackson.
on a
Adoree'
Jackson.
Adoree' Jackson.
I like the Giants here. I'm taking the Giants.
I think this is a bad matchup for the Vikings.
It really
Because
is.
realistically, I think the Giants can beat the Vikings, but I don't think the Giants are a Super Bowl contender because they don't have anybody to catch the ball. They're a completely one-dimensional offense.
They're making guys catch the ball. The thing.
Yes.
You haven't heard of
first-
Bellinger before this year. You haven't heard of
I
that
really
other
like
kid
him.
catching
And all
these touchdowns
that
before
is
this year.
fantastic for a regular season. You're not doing that in the playoffs against the 49ers and the Cowboys. I think you can do it against the Vikings, absolutely. But I think this team taps out of the divisional team.
I mean, the Giants' best receiver is Richie James.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't
That's
think
his
they
name.
have.
Yeah.
I just don't think they have the
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 chutzpah.
juice on that offense. But I mean, don't get me wrong. I think they can beat the Vikings because the Vikings defense is trash.
Well, the
but I
Vikings
do think if they advance, they're not going much further.
the Vikings are the first team with 13 wins to have a negative point differential. All their wins have basically been 1 score or less.
Yeah, they've had like 6 wins that have been decided by like 3 points or less.
And honestly, if the Giants could come out and score on the first few drives and kind of set the tempo, that could really be a difference maker for them. And you got to contain Jefferson enough. You're going to assume he's going to get 10 targets minimum. He's probably going to catch 8 of those passes, and he'll probably get a touchdown. It's a matter of how much more damage can you prevent him from doing at that point. And if the Giants can slow him down enough, I think they could win this game. And like we were kind of alluding to, the Vikings defense, it's nothing to shake any sticks at. Daniel Jones, his best ability is his legs. If they keep running with him and Barkley, it could be a long day for the Vikings.
I agree. I think the Giants can win this game, and I think it'll be close. I'm going to rock with the Vikings, though. I still think they have a super talented offense. I mean, as long as Kirk Cousins doesn't shit the bed, which he's known for, right?
But also at the same time, Daniel Jones's record from 4 to primetime games is like 1-16. It's not good either.
It is funny, though, that, coming into the season, the Giant fan motive was cut Saquon, cut Daniel Jones, like they're terrible. We don't want them.
Rebuild it all.
We got to pay both of them.
A good season changes that. There you go.
So I don't know. It's tough, but I think the Vikings pull it out. They don't have anyone that can stop Jefferson. I know Dory Jackson's coming back. That's great, dude.
Dory Jackson was cut 2 years ago.
Yeah, and Jefferson's literally the second coming of Moss at this rate. He is literally unguardable.
Dalvin Cook is great. If they can
Hawkinson.
If they can pressure Kirk and force him to make some bad throws, which they can, the Giants could win it. But
you turned your head a little bit when I said Hawkinson. What do you mean?
No, it was you said Dory Jackson's the next coming of Moss.
Oh, I said Adoree Jackson. I meant Justin Jefferson.
I thought you said Jefferson.
I thought I said Jefferson. I don't know.
You said Adoree Jackson.
I was like, Clark Hawkinson is a Viking. It has been a while, but he is a Viking.
Yeah, no.
The Giants are legit. They're going to have to put up 30-plus points if they want to win the game.
But I think they can. It's just a matter of can they stop enough bleeding from the Vikings is really the biggest question.
The Giants have to play a perfect football game. They want to win.
I think their margin for error is much smaller than the Vikings. I agree with that. I think I'm going to go Vikings.
Vikings have to be more perfect. I 100% agree with that.
I'm with Clark with the Giants.
I also think I think the Vikings will be more perfect. I think they're going to be more prepared.
I'm at the Giants with Clark. Jesse Bologna took the Vikings. Jesse, did you say your pick? I don't remember.
I'm Vikings. I'm with
Vikings as well. So we are split on that one. And now the last game on Sunday, another one we don't have to spend too much time on because one team is playing without a quarterback. That is the Ravens and the Bengals. Yeah.
Bengals are healthy. Ravens aren't.
Bengals have a quarterback.
Give the Ravens a little bit of credit for kind of staying afloat. I know a lot of teams are bad this year. I know it's a very weird NFL year, but they haven't had Lamar in weeks since I think the Jet game was the last game he played. Lamar, which is ironic. You never know where he's going to be next year. Give him credit for at least still making the playoffs because there were the Steelers were there. A bunch of other teams were 8-8 trying to fight in going into the last week of the season.
Hey, 9-8, respect. Mike Tomlin never a losing season.
Okay. But yeah, I give them credit for still getting here. Their defense is okay. It's not the greatest, but it's not enough. And their offense isn't gonna bail them out if the defense gives up 27 points. So, yeah, Bengals. Love me some Joe Burrow.
The fact that Anthony Brown might have to start a playoff game, what are we doing? The stadium is going to be insane. Bengals by 20. I mean, there's really not much.
It's going to be rough. I don't say that much. Same thing with the Bills. If they get up to a 2-touchdown lead, I think it's going to be enough to be insurmountable for the Ravens, though.
Yeah, they can just bleed it out. Yeah, I can see this being literally a 21-3 game. Mixing up games, 2 touchdowns on the ground.
Where each playoff team is playing this weekend, they're all kind of pretty good football environments. Except for Jacksonville, I'd say. Mm-hmm. Jacksonville's on the rise, I would say, because they're
going to have a home playoff game in the first time in ever.
Yeah, that's wild.
I wish they made the Giant Viking game Sunday night.
That would be perfect.
Sunday night.
Yeah,
4:00's a little weird.
So one thing I want to touch on about the Ravens real quick, just something I think that's going to be interesting to monitor is the Lamar Jackson thing, because they don't want to give him all that guaranteed money. But I really think now this is going to be interesting to see what happens with the quarterback market to see the
Based
fallout
on what
of
happens
the
with him.
Deshaun Watson deal. Well, the
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson deal now creates this guaranteed money thing, and for all intents and purposes, Deshaun Watson sucked this year. He didn't even play that good. So they didn't go on any run when he came back. They were actually statistically worse
They
when
were
he
worse.
came back.
Jacoby
played like
played.
He played like a guy
first-
who missed 2 years of football.
The first 8 weeks of the season, they were a mostly offensive team and their defense sucked. Watson came back, and then they all of a sudden couldn't do anything on offense, despite having pretty much the same personnel. So now that guy has $240 million guaranteed, and now you're going to have guys who are legitimately going to be better than him with a more positive outlook than him in Deshaun Watson. And how are you not going to guarantee that money? I think the quarterback market is going to a place that's going to be very interesting based off that Deshaun Watson contract. And I think Lamar is going to be the first domino to fall in all of that.
If Lamar hits the open market, the NFL is going to
Open
collapse.
season. Yeah.
Literally, like this quarterback market is rough for like
it will be a
Carr,
feeding frenzy for him.
Garoppolo. Like this is a fight. There'd be 15 teams easily.
Well, and then I think, here's the thing. I think they franchise in that minimum. But then you're going to go into the conversation of, is Lamar going to sign that? Because Lamar's going to want to hold out, but the media would crucify him more than they would anybody else. They would destroy Lamar. Lamar hasn't done anything to deserve that money. So I think the franchise tag is expected. It's just going to be where it goes from.
That's just to retain his rights, but we'll see how that story plays out throughout the offseason, of course. So we'll get to our last playoff game, which is on Monday night, and that is the Dallas Cowboys taking on Tampa Bay and Tom Brady. Could it be his last playoff game in Tampa Bay? Could he be going out west? I don't know. What do you guys think?
It's his last game. It's his last game as Tampa. As a Tampa Bay
in the stadium of Raymond James, possibly. I think they play again the next weekend. I think they beat Dallas in this game. I mean,
I think they win too.
I'm not been impressed with Dallas recently. I mean, the last like 3-4 weeks, they just looked like they've been declining. I mean, no offense to Sam Howell, Steve, but it's a kid making his very, very first start in the last week of the NFL season. And he kind of like
to be fair, it didn't matter to the Cowboys, and they didn't have any tape on it.
They played their starters though.
They played their starters. That's the thing. They were
fighting
trying
for the
enough.
number 1 seed. That game mattered to the Cowboys.
Yeah,
because if the Eagles lost to the Giants, what?
You don't have tape,
but it's also a third-string quarterback.
Howell threw the ball 16 times. You know, like. It's not like he went out there and threw 45 times. He threw 16 times. Like, but
he destroyed him with his feet.
That's what I'm saying.
Tampa doesn't have that, but they've not been playing well.
The Cowboys have been very uninspiring, for sure.
And Cowboys had a shot. If the Eagles would have lost to the Giants and the Cowboys would have won, Cowboys would be the number 1 seed right now. So they had something to play for. But I just don't like playoff Tom Brady.
Jesse's cooking something up. I see him.
A depleted Cowboys.
I just don't think we're talking.
Monologue.
I think we're talking a lot about a team struggling when the team they're playing against is 8-9 and kind of sucks.
Like, the division winner that's 8-9. That has a hot Mike Evans right now, who's on a roll recently, and that's not who you want to get hot in the playoffs. Brady and Evans. You don't want to get
totally fair. I don't know if they're going to have time to throw the ball because that's a really good defensive front and. That offensive line hasn't been able to block for Brady all year. I just think we're over. We're talking about the Cowboys looking bad. The Bucs just freaking lost to the Falcons. And yeah, they didn't play any starters, but I mean, they didn't.
Who lost to the Falcons? Blaine Gabbert.
They've been losing. The Bucs haven't been playing very good the past.
Neither have the Cowboys
the whole season. Yeah, but we're talking about the Cowboys playing for the 1 seed in Week 17, but we're not talking about the Buccaneers having 8 wins.
We're not, or this.
Yeah,
we're talking about this.
Records.
The Cowboys played badly in Week 17, fighting for the number 1 seed, but we're crowning the Buccaneers for winning a division.
Records is great, but what I'm seeing on the field from the Cowboys is mediocrity recently. And and you have playoff Brady, and potentially his last game at Raymond James before he probably probably goes to Vegas. I think he wants one more badly. I think he wants it more than the Cowboys. I'm taking Brady.
I'm going Cowboys.
Ooh,
This-
Jesse's the lone cowpoke.
It's a
I'm
tough
going with the
game.
Bucks.
I think I'm gonna go with the
Going
Bucks
with
as
the
well.
Bucks
I mean,
too.
they're 0-7 in their career
I
against
love
Brady.
it.
So I don't know. I mean, they're still a good defense too. Tampa Bay, and Dak has not looked great. So
They almost lost to the Texans.
yeah,
They
So did
almost
the
lost to
Chiefs.
the Colts.
So did the Chiefs at one point.
The Chiefs did lose to the Colts.
And then
Chiefs
the
went to
Chiefs-
OT with the Texans.
What a wild football year.
We can pick and choose whatever games we want.
But at the end of the day, Jesse's going with the 49ers, the Jags, the Bills, the Vikings, the Bengals, the Cowboys. Clark is going with the 49ers, Chargers, Bills, Giants, Bengals, Bucks. Bologna is going with 49ers, Chargers, Bills, Vikings, Bengals, Bucks. I'm going with 49ers, Jags, Bills, Giants, Bengals, and the Bucks as well. That is our wild card predictions. Hopefully it's not as bad to watch as we think it could be for most games, but it probably will be. Schedules look like we'll be able to do a podcast next week to recap and preview the divisional round. So when we
Your
get
schedule seems like it. You don't know about
yeah.
us.
I know your schedules for the most part, but
Justin knows
with that-
everyone's schedules.
Just knows everything.
as Jesse
Yes,
knows
Justin
during
lives
sport.
on the scheduling app, actually.
I know
with
reading it
that
off
being-
during games, I heard.
Yep, Clark, it's been a while, but when those come out, where can people listen and watch?
Jesus, I don't know. You can watch on YouTube, Apple Podcast, Spotify. Follow the socials on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Sports.pod. That's Sports DEPT Pod. This is coming up next. More playoffs. I don't know.
Wrestling
what
one,
after that.
maybe.
Maybe a
Little Rumble-ski?
Rumble. Rumble sounds
Rumble.
fun. That does sound fun. Oh, I won
Saudi
the
Rumble,
predictions.
baby.
I'm owed a T-shirt. So
No, dude, what do you mean? We stopped in like week 9.
I'm talking about the wrestling predictions.
Oh, I was gonna say,
Calm
dude.
down.
I'm like,
Calm down.
yeah, Justin.
Yeah,
I
I
have a t-shirt.
haven't
Oh,
taken
he's
it up.
getting. Oh, Justin, we're getting him a Nick Thompson T-shirt.
Oh,
Yeah.
No. Jesse got his bloodline one last year.
I did get my bloodline one. You get to pick yours.
I get to pick. I think Justin
Kevin
came
Owens.
in second. I
Can't
think
wait
Justin
for
came
you
in
to
second,
pick a Nick
actually.
Thompson one.
Yeah, I think Justin came in second. It was like a 1-point differential. So
It was a
Whatever.
1-point differential.
you're not first, you're last. We're last, Normie, but you're last in the last.
That doesn't even make
First
sense.
to last. You just called yourself last.
You're last.
Yeah, but
I'm
Jesse's the last behind me.
That's not what the quote's for.
More pods coming soon.